All right, so allow me to share with you the best side hustle that nobody talks about, which is known as flipping medical commodities, flipping diabetic medical commodities, flipping test strips. Basically, the concept of buying and reselling diabetic testing supplies. These are over the counter products. Anybody can buy and anybody can sell them. So let me just give you some quick facts about this business and quickly explain it, and then tell you guys why this is the best side hustle that nobody talks about. But understand that this is a simple concept business that can make you bank, right? It's not techie. There's not too many moving pieces. It's a pretty simple concept business. There are certain things that you need to know, do, say, pay, and look for. But at the end of the day, there are way more difficult things out there that can completely destroy your brain or blow your brain up, whether it's, learning how to day trade or learning how to run ads. You don't have to do any of that within this business. I never do any of that. Everything I do on a day-to-day basis within my medical commodities business is rather simple. So the first thing you have to understand is there are 40 million diabetics nationwide. In fact, I should probably put 40 million plus, because I actually believe that number is quite higher. I remember back in 2021, they came out with a study by the CDC that said that, 1 in like 10 Americans, or something like 38 million Americans had diabetes, right? So 1 in 10 Americans is like 350 or 400 million people nationwide, and 1 in 10 of those people had diabetes. But I would actually bet, now that it's 2025, 4 years later, that number might actually be, 45 million, 50 million. And then you have to account for all the people that don't know they're diabetic, or maybe they have pre-diabetes. So that number could very well be, 50, 60, 70, 80 million people nationwide that have diabetes. Now, I know diabetes is an awful disease, right? My father has had it for, all my life, and I know that it affects millions and millions of people on a daily basis. I'm not a doctor or scientist, but at the same time, I understand the opportunity within this disease or business, and what we're simply doing is providing a service, because we're helping these supplies that would otherwise get thrown out to be able to be recycled and put on the shelf. Because what happens to all these people that are nationwide that have diabetes is they all get a surplus of supplies that they don't need and won't use, right? They get these supplies monthly, right? It could be weekly, it could be monthly, it could be bi-weekly, it could be bi-monthly, but they get them on a repeat basis. And like I said, they might only need, 2 boxes. You see this box right here? They might only need 2 boxes, because this box has 100 strips, 100 test strips in it. And they might only need to test their sugar maybe 3-4 times a day at the max. But when they're getting 5, 10, 15 boxes, it's just too much than they actually need. It's just unnecessary. So they get these boxes every single, weekly or monthly, and, they don't have any use for them. They're either going to throw them out or let them expire. So what we do as resellers in the medical commodities or diabetic testing supply space, medical commodities is just kind of a fancy word for this business. But we simply do offline and online marketing, offering to pay cash for these supplies. And we look to buy them from our clients, the diabetics who have extras, for a third or a half of what they resell for. And you're probably wondering, Felix, how do you know what they resell for? Well, we have dedicated price sheets, right? We don't sell them to other diabetics. We don't use eBay. We have guaranteed buyers / pharmacies that have dedicated price sheets, and we know exactly what we're going to resell them for, whether we have 1 box, 5 boxes, 10 boxes, 100 boxes, 1,000 boxes. It does not matter. And this is literally rinse and repeat, right? So I've had clients who come back month after month after month for years on end. Like I said, these clients come back month after month after month. It doesn't matter, what the situation is, because most people, they don't get diabetes today and then by the end of the year don't have it. Now, from time to time that does happen, but depending on which type of diabetes you have, unfortunately, you're stuck with it for life. So they come back month after month after month, whether it's with 1 box, 5 boxes, 10 boxes, 20 boxes, they come back month after month after month. And I look at each client like a mini rental unit, right? If you own a property, say it's a 2-family, a 3-family, on the first, your clients pay you rent every single month. With these clients that sell you these diabetic supplies, they come back month after month after month. And there's no tech skills, license, or large amount of capital needed. And that's the beautiful thing about this business, right? You see so many things online where you have to sit behind a computer, you have to learn ads, you have to set up a website. You don't need to do any of that with this. All you need to start this business is 10 to 15 hours per month and a cell phone. a smartphone. You can't do it with a flip phone because you do have to access certain apps and things online. But you don't need a computer, you don't need a car, you don't need a business license, you don't need an LLC. Yes, you can get all those things with time once you start making money and you start growing, but it's not needed in the beginning. So no tech skills required, no license needed, right? Both driver's license, because actually one of my most successful students, he started this business riding around on his bicycle, or like a business license. You know, some businesses out there, you need a business license, you need a website. You don't need that with this. You can get that with time, but you never need a business license. I've been doing this business since 2015. I still don't have a business license because you don't need one. Yes, I have an LLC, but that could be created with time. And then there's no large amount of capital needed. You can get this business up and running with less than $1,000. And like I said, the best part about this business is we have buyers. So, these are buyers that buy these brands of test strips, One Touch Ultra, Freestyle, and a bunch of other brands of diabetic testing supplies. And the crazy thing is, nobody's talking about this business, right? Everybody's talking about drop shipping, Amazon FBA, Shopify, trading, starting a marketing agency, becoming a real estate wholesaler, doing all these businesses, but, nobody's talking about this business. In fact, I would bet there's only about, somewhere between 1,500 to 3,000 resellers like myself doing this business. So if you want to learn how you can do this business, a very simple business, go below this video, click the free link, and register for my free live training that's going to be coming up this Thursday. That's every single Thursday I'm putting on a free live training. It's not going to be a recorded training or a recorded video that I act or tell you it's live when it's really not live. This is going to be a free live training every Thursday where I'm going to be breaking down the business. So click the link below and I'll show you guys exactly how this business works. Talk to you soon.